Right, hello everyone. I'm not gonna lie, this feels really weird talking in front of a camera again. Like it's been over 2 years or something like that. But it's nice to be back doing YouTube. I'm doing a film review, sort of. Saw, basically a franchise that I've watched my whole life. Probably at too young of an age, if I'm being honest. But hey, that's where this great, incredible movie taste comes from. Whether they're kind of a bit schlocky, whether they're actually just a great movie, I've always just enjoyed them just for what they are. And I just thought today that I kind of wanted to just do a video of ranking them from worst to best and just kind of share my opinions on this franchise that, even though is admittedly a little bit shit sometimes, I love still quite a bit. But yeah, I haven't really got many notes written down. I just wanted to get a video out there because I just had the urge to do it, so I'm gonna just start doing it. So sadly, in last place for me out of the Saw movies is actually the film that I watched just yesterday. It's a complete first watch for me. It's a film I've put off for quite a while, probably just because the Saw fan inside of me just didn't want to have a movie without Tobin Bell. It's probably a lot of people's last place, but it's Spiral from the book of Saw. This film just doesn't work for me whatsoever. I mean, it's got some good things about it. It's probably one of the most gruesome Saw films there is. I guess it's got some cool cinematography, and I do think the twist at the end, with the partner pretending to basically die, and then it turning out that he's just somebody who watched his dad get killed by a corrupt cop, basically gaining revenge and being this jigsaw copycat killer. It's pretty great. I actually like that idea. I think it works really well, and I think it's probably one of the best ways that lore has been kind of implemented into the Jigsaw universe. But practically everything else about the film is pretty shit, I'm not gonna lie. All I'm gonna say is Chris Rock is dog shit in this film. He does not suit this role whatsoever. I mean, it could be me being a bit ignorant, thinking, Chris Rock just can't do anything outside of comedy, but it's just he can't act in this. He's like, surely he can do better than this. It just feels like he's joking half the time. It doesn't feel like he's putting any effort into it. And I don't mean to be somebody who's hating on something for the sake of it, but it just doesn't feel like he cares about this, even though from what I've heard that this is sort of a passion project of his. I just kind of wanted better. There was a lot of people saying, you know what, it's actually pretty good. It's a good step in the direction for what Saw once was and it may possibly be in the future, and it just wasn't that for me. I think where the franchise then eventually ended up to go with Saw X was fantastic, as you'll find out much later on in the video, but this just doesn't work for me. I think the direction is like genuinely just crap. Like, how the hell did some of the performances get through here? It feels like nobody actually cares about what's being put onto screen, and just feels like everybody's just trying to get a cash grab for this new Saw movie that hasn't. But like, yeah, it's just not great whatsoever. I mean, if Chris Rock wants to try and come back for another go, have another go, mate. But for me personally, just didn't like it. Right, moving to the next on the list, and it is Saw 4. For me, Saw 4 has always been the most forgettable, and it's probably due to the fact that the main protagonist in this film, I just think, is the most boring character in any of the Saw films. You could put even Chris Rock over this guy. He is just so bland. I don't even care about when his eventual passing does happen. I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't think he deserves anything that happens to him. He's just a policeman at the end of the day, He doesn't deserve to be in these traps. It just feels like at this point the Saw franchise was like, oh, we need an excuse to make another film and another film and another film, and then they had to go, oh well, what we're gonna do next, and just got stuck with this. There's some okay traps, but they're probably the worst in the franchise. They're the most forgettable. I mean, the bed scene, that's probably the best one. That's probably the one that's most memorable. The scene with the woman's hair, with the ponytail getting pulled all the way back off her scalp, that's pretty nasty. But yeah, it's just easily the most forgettable film. Hoffman as a reveal it's okay, but just the Hoffman is kind of a shit character anyway. Like, he's somebody who has his moments, but he's nowhere near as like great as Amanda. A big problem I have with this film as well is the payoff of Detective Matthews. I just think the last like two films before this, like Saw 2, he's a great character. Saw 3 has a great opening with him, and it leaves you really like wondering where is this gonna go with him. But it just pays off in the like worst way possible in this film. Like, it's just crap. Like, I like maybe the whole visual of his head getting, splatted, but it's still shit. It's just really, really, really just kind of underwhelming, and it could the whole character could have been just utilized so much better. The next film on the list is Saw 5. For me, I've always enjoyed Saw 5. I kind of get people's problems with it. I do get that, Hoffman's not a great character. I'll say that to the moon and back. He is not the best. He is one of the worst, if I'm honest. But the main thing that this film has going for it, though, is its game. The game is just great. I think all the characters are quite enjoyable to watch, even though some of them are absolute twats, but you kind of weirdly it's hard to explain. You don't want to see them succeed, but you want to see them I don't know how to explain it, but I just like the dynamics between all the characters. Hoffman is alright in this film. He's probably at his most interesting in this, apart from maybe 6, he's got some cool parts, but 5, I feel like I like the backstory. I like the origin that he was originally a Jigsaw copycat killer, and bloody John took him on, which I think is kind of cool. I do like that, but I do get people's issues with it. But for me, it's always just kind of worked well. Some of the kills are pretty cool. Yeah, and I also like the idea of the fact that they all had to work together to eventually survive in the end, but because they were all screwing each other over, that they just ended up dying anyway. But yeah, it's a decent film, this is, and I think it deserves a little bit more respect. So the next film on the list for me is Jigsaw. Jigsaw is a weird film for me because I always used to like this film. I always used to really think that this was one of the best films in the whole franchise. Until kind of recently, that I've just started noticing more and more flaws every time I've watched it. I think the game's kind of interesting. I think it's pretty fun at points. But the whole side story with Logan is just so boring. It's just so blur. Like, I think it's kind of cool to think, there was another apprentice all the way that time ago, before Amanda, before Hoffman, before Dr. Lawrence and all them people. But it's just so obviously just tapped on just for something to go, we need to make a bit more money off this fucking Saw name. And it really shows. I mean, the whole time displacement thing that happens in this is just crap. It's just like so like obviously put there just so they could put Tobin Bell in another one of these Saw films. But yeah, it just feels really just tacky, this film. But I do think the game is good, and I do think the performances are pretty great as well. The woman who we pretty much follow as the main protagonist for the whole film, until you find out that she's an absolute bitch. Yeah, she's like probably one of the most deserving characters in all the film to be in these traps. The final scene with the shotgun as well, the final scene in the game with the shotgun, I also do think is pretty great as well. Although, as much as Tobin Bell is great in these films, whenever he shows up, I always find him so unlikable in this one. I don't know why. Maybe it's just me being salty about the fact I thought we were going to get more John Kramer, but I'm just not a massive fan of this one. I still think it's a pretty good movie, but it could have been so much better. But I just think they're going to continue to make these films with Tobin Bell for as long as they bloody can, which is probably the best thing they can do, because I'm there for every single one that Tobin Bell is there for. This, for me, is where the enjoyment of the films go up a little bit. As much as I know that some of them are tacky, especially this next one, I just really enjoy them. But next is Saw 3D, which I know a lot of people hate, but I think it's a good time, okay? I think it's a fun watch. The pink blood is awful, okay? Everybody knows that. Everybody knows about the pink blood. I don't know why it's pink. I assume it's something to do with the fact it's 3D. But I don't know what the fuck was going on there. But this is a fun film, okay? If you take away the schlockiness, if you take away ignore the fact it's some awful CGI, it's a fun watch, okay? It's a really great watch. It's got some great traps in it. The furnace scene or the woman getting burnt in the end, I feel bad for that woman. Like, she has done nothing. I don't get why they've done that. But that key scene with that woman who has the key down her throat, mate, that is one of the nastiest sequences in all of Saw, and every time I see it, it makes me want to be sick. Sean Patrick Flanery, I actually think does a really good job here. I like the whole idea of him, being this fake jigsaw survivor, and then actually being put through the same test that he originally said he did. I think it's a really good idea. Maybe not so much of a great idea for a final Saw film. It just feels kind of like they were trying to find something to do. But the way that they try and wrap it all up and do a full circle doesn't 100% work for me. I think the idea of it works, but bringing Dr. Lawrence Gordon back, I think it's a solid idea, but the execution of it is awful. They bring him back halfway through the film, going, "Who, you've survived that trap," and it's like, okay, so that guy's a bastard now. He's going to be the bad guy now. I mean, it like logically it makes sense, but you would just not show that. You would just show him being at the end, and you'd go, "Whoa!" It would genuinely, the whole film would be like better by like a whole star. Imagine you've been watching these films for 7 years, and at the very end you see it's him, he's back, but it's obvious. But like it gets ruined within 15 minutes of the film. Now I am aware with this next one I am kind of in the minority because most people fucking love this next one, but for me it just feels like too much of a downer. Like, I understand that basically every single one of these films is just depressing as fuck. You're just watching people getting tortured to death, but this one is just depressing. Like, it's a grieving father and mother, and they're just being put through these awful tests. Like, why? Just like, it doesn't make sense. Like, no, to be honest, no, I don't get it at all. I don't get why they're doing it. I think it's an interesting kind of route. If it wasn't a Saw film, I guess, being put through, oh, do you forgive this person, blah, blah, blah. It's an interesting kind of premise, but it's not a good idea for a Saw film. I think it's really unfair. The lore of the films have just completely gone out the window by the third film. But yeah, Amanda's annoying as fuck in this film. She is so unlikable, and as much as I think it's Saw 6 tries to fix that in a way that's like, oh, it was Hoffman who made her like that, realistically, it just still comes off even rewatching it, that she's just an annoying piece of shit. Like, I really don't like her in this one. I think she's great in the second one. I even think she's great in Saw X. But she is awful in this. She is genuinely so unlikable, and that when she gets shot in the end of the film, I'm kind of cheering it on, bro. Jeff, go kill that bitch. I can't stand her in this one. But as much as I've got this low, I still, can't fight against the fact it is just still a pretty good film. Like, the traps are some of the best, the rack sequence, that's great. The shotgun where you've got to pull out the key, that's a good little bit. You've got the pig's blood, that's pretty nasty. There's some great moments in it. It's just not one that I always get excited to come back to, but I do think the traps really kind of carry the weight for the film. And the brain surgery sequence, it's not even a trap, but it's one of the best moments in all of Saw. I genuinely think that's possibly in the top 3 moments of all of Saw. The other thing that I do like about this film as well is the ending. I do think it's kind of cool that, well, not cool, but I do think it's a good little cliffhanger for Jeff to go and find his kid who's locked up. And I also think that after this point, they shot themselves in the foot, because they shouldn't have killed off John. They were idiots for killing off John. They've been trying to fix that mistake since then. Now, these next 4 are basically all films that I just really, really like. Next is Saw 6. It's always just been one of my favourites. I don't really know why. I mean, the only real proper negative I have to say about this film is I just do think the reason that he's in the games is just a bit unfair. Like, I kind of get it, but he is just doing his job at the end of the day. It's a nasty kind of business, but it still puts him in a good place to create a good and exciting time. The game's fun. I think it's got loads of great moments. I love the way he's going against the smoker in the hold your breath contest. I'm not really sure the person who actually plays the lead protagonist in this one, but I think he does a pretty good job with what he has. I think he genuinely is just a really great. I think he's one of the best protagonists in the whole franchise. It's almost a shame that he had to die at the end, because I do think that he did everything that he was supposed to. I feel like there was no way he was going to win that. There was just no way he was going to win his game, even though he did everything he was supposed to. And the shotgun carousel scene as well. That was a great moment. I forgot about that, but that's a really good bit too. But yeah, I like Saw 6. Right, the first Saw movie I ever saw, Saw 2. I really like Saw 2. I think Saw 2 is just not an improvement on every single front of Saw 1, but I do think it does a lot of stuff better, like the traps much better. But just everything in that house, I think it's a great game. The time displacement thing as well works really well. I like the addition of Detective Matthews, and how all he had to do to win his game was just sit there and talk. I like that. I think the father and son sort of dynamic that is through the film, I just think, even though they're not really together through much of it, I kind of just like it. I like the fact he's trying to find his kid. I just think it's a really good time. I think it's a really good watch. Now, the annoying thing is with these next two is they could go back and forth every day. Like, I don't actually know at the minute which one I prefer. But I'm just going to go and try and avoid, I guess, somewhat recency bias here. And I'm going to pick Saw X. But hey, tomorrow I could be changing my mind completely. But I think Saw X is brilliant. I think it's, if not better than the first one, I think it's fantastic. I think it just does everything right. It does everything it needs to. Bringing Tobin Bell back as the protagonist was literally the best thing that they possibly could have done. That's all they needed to do. How did it take them 10 movies to figure that out? That's all they needed to do. Even though, you know, murder's wrong and all, but you are so up for seeing these people against these awful people against the traps that Tobin Bell puts them through. Why do I keep calling them Tobin Bell? John Kramer, sorry. That John Kramer keeps putting him through. They're just awful people. The main woman, I think, is really unlikable. I can't stand her, but I think in like a good way. Meant to be like that. But yeah, I just think all the traps are really good. It's a common thing you'll hear from me. But I also think the story's pretty good as well. I like how it does a few callbacks as well. With, the kid with the no hala thing. That bit's cool. I like that. And the only thing that's really I'm just not a fan of with this film is the twist at the end. Well, it's not even really a twist. Just kind of like the idea that this couple have to go against each other. It's just kind of blech. It's just alright, It's kind of. I was kind of expecting bigger, which I think is a big problem I had with the film in the first place. When I first saw it, I wasn't really sure how I felt about it, because I was there for a dumb Saw film, and as much as I got a dumb Saw film, I got a lot more on top of that, which I'm really happy with. But yeah, I think Saw X is really, really good, and it's made me super excited to see where hopefully they continue. Which, imagine the one time that everybody's excited for a new Saw film, and they're just not going to give us one. It will be very annoying. So it seems that Sony Vegas wanted to be an absolute pain in the arse for like the last 5 minutes of the recording, which is probably the most important part of the whole video. But yeah, the original Saw is my favourite Saw movie. Well done to James Wan, however to pronounce it, for making one of the most iconic horror films to come out in the last 20-25 years. But I'll go back to the other part of the video now. The main bad thing about this film, though, is its performances. It is pretty bad. I'm not gonna lie. If they had some really good actors here, it was don't get me wrong. The characters that are played in this film are iconic, but they're not good actors here. I love Leigh Whannell. I think Leigh Whannell is a fantastic director. I think he's so likeable. I even think he's likeable in this film. But he's not a good actor. He's not a good actor. And why can I not think of his name? The guy who plays Princess Bride 2, him, the doctor, he is horrendous. He's got one of the worst performances in any film I've ever seen. I remember when me and my dad went to go see this at the cinemas for its 20th anniversary release, 20-year anniversary release, and He's there going, "I've done what you've asked, now show them to me." And we're just fucking laughing our asses off. And do you know how fucking creepy we must have sounded to just everybody else in that room? Because you've just got two weirdos laughing at this guy sobbing on the floor about his family who he thinks are dead. But yeah, it's just, no, he's bad in this film. But everything else in this film is, like, just great. Like, you know, Tobin Bell, the whole twist with him getting up at the end is iconic. Basically everything about this film's iconic. The iconic score that comes from it. Oh, just incredible theme. But yeah, it's just a great film. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. But yeah, I like Saw, if you couldn't tell. That's basically just my opinion on every single Saw film. I know it's not, you know, that mind-blowing. I probably didn't have that many hot takes, but if you guys have anything different to say, or tell me how wrong I am, or how your opinions are better, please let me know in the comments. I am interested to know. Big Saw fan. Hope that we get Saw 11. Please subscribe, like. I'm going to try and do more videos. But yeah, maybe see you later.